US Airways Flight 1549 has just left New York's LaGuardia Airport.
Birds. My aircraft.
Your aircraft.
Both of the plane's engines have stopped working.
Mayday, mayday, mayday. This is Cactus 1549.
The plane is falling from the sky. There are only a few seconds to decide what to do. 155 lives depend on the pilots making the right call. With a bad option on the right and a worse one on the left, the crew decides to put their Airbus on the runway that's dead ahead.
We're going to be in the Hudson.
New York's LaGuardia Airport, mid-afternoon.
Please take a moment to listen to this important...
US Airways Flight 1549 is a short hop from New York City to Charlotte, North Carolina. Together in the cockpit today are Captain Chesley Sullenberger, 57,
Clear to push.
and First Officer Jeffrey Skiles, 49. 150 passengers are on board the European-made Airbus A320. The crew flew in an hour earlier from Charlotte, with Sullenberger at the controls.
Your brakes, your aircraft.
First Officer Skiles will be flying the plane back to Charlotte.
My aircraft.
It's a common sharing of piloting duties.
Cactus 1549, runway 4, clear for takeoff.
Cactus 1549, clear for takeoff.
This trip marks the final leg of a 4-day sequence of flights for both men. But by the end of the day, they'll be the most famous crew on the planet.
Gear up, please.
Gear up.
Patrick Harton is one of the controllers handling traffic out of LaGuardia today. He has one of the most stressful jobs in the world.
Cactus 1549, New York departure, radar contact. Climb and maintain 15,000.
The flight will climb northeast out of LaGuardia, and then begin a slow turn south towards Charlotte. Riding the thrust of 2 General Electric engines, the aircraft powers into the sky.
Yeah.
After takeoff checklist complete.
Flight 1549 is traveling at almost 400 kilometers an hour. It's been in the air for just a minute and a half.
Bird.
The birds ingested into Flight 1549.
We got one roll. Both of them rolling back.
Just 13 seconds after their problems began, Sullenberger takes control of the struggling plane.
My aircraft.
Your aircraft.
Mayday, mayday, mayday. This is Cactus 1549. Hit birds. We've lost thrust in both engines. We're turning back towards LaGuardia.
The crew reported that they hit several birds shortly after takeoff.
Okay, you need to return to LaGuardia. Turn left, heading 220.
220.
Thrust levers. Confirm idle.
Idle.
Okay, Cactus 1549, if we can get it for you, you want to try and land on runway 13.
We're unable.
All right, Cactus 1549, it's going to be traffic for runway 31.
Unable.
Harton still wants the jet to return to LaGuardia, but Flight 1549 is now just 1,400 feet above the ground.
Cactus 1549, runway 4 is available if you want to make left, traffic runway 4.
I'm not sure we can make any runway.
Flight 1549 is dropping fast.
This is the captain. Brace for impact.
While the crew struggles to fly their stricken plane, Patrick Harton is still trying to find them an airport.
Okay, Cactus 1549, you can land runway 1 at Teterboro.
Can't do it.
Okay, which runway would you like at Teterboro?
We're going to be in the Hudson.
I'm sorry, say again, Cactus?
We're going to be in the Hudson.
That was a death sentence for him, and I didn't want to accept the fact that it was over and there were no more options left.
Okay. Let's go. Put the flaps out.
Passengers throughout the plane watch the Hudson rise to meet them and begin making preparations of their own.
Got flaps out. 250 feet in the air.
Got any ideas?
Actually, none.
Below 300 feet, Patrick Harton's radar can't see the plane. Flight 1549 disappears. In the cabin, the passengers prepare for the inevitable.
You ready at the doors?
We're going to brace.
US Airways Flight 1549 was in the air for just 5 minutes and 8 seconds. Having made a remarkable landing, the passengers and crew now face a new danger. The plane is leaking. The ice-cold water of the Hudson is pouring into the cabin. Captain Sullenberger heads for the cabin, while First Officer Skiles shuts down the plane. In an instant, the $75 million plane has become an unlikely boat floating down the Hudson River. It's now filling with freezing water. Passengers nearest the exits open the doors quickly, while Sullenberger and the cabin crew begin managing the evacuation. This unwieldy boat won't be floating much longer.
Come forward! Is there anybody here?
Skiles and Sullenberger are the last ones off the plane. LaGuardia Airport has sent out an alert to New York's emergency services. In the middle of the Hudson, 155 frozen people hope that help will arrive in time. First on the scene are passenger ferries that have been shuttling people across the Hudson. They are eventually joined by the Coast Guard and Fire Department. The entire nation looks on as every single passenger and the entire crew of Flight 1549 is brought to safety.
Are you okay?
8 days after the crash, investigators are finally able to examine the engines in detail. The engines are analyzed piece by piece to try and figure out exactly what happened 3,000 feet above New York. The birds ingested into Flight 1549 ripped apart the engine's compressors. Metal shards from these broken compressors were sucked deep into the cores of both engines, shutting them down. Skill, training, and the aircraft's very design combined to save the lives of 155 people.